Welcome to Martinis and Mentors, where real estate pros sip, share, and spill the strategies that actually work. I'm Yvonne Arnold, 40-year veteran realtor, business consultant, and your no BS guide to growing a real estate business that you love. So grab your favorite libation and let's dive in. Today, I want to talk about something I see all the time. And quite frankly, it happens whether you're doing 20 deals a year or 200 deals a year. You're busy, your head's full, you got ideas everywhere, you're thinking about your database, your next closing, the buyers who won't make a decision, the listing that isn't selling, your assistant, your marketing, your CRM. Which AI should I be using? That new lead source that somebody told you about. Should I spend that money on that? And somewhere in the middle of all of that, you're wondering, why does it still feel like I'm doing all this hard work and I'm not moving any needles? And usually the answer isn't that you need another idea. You don't need another piece of technology, and you probably don't need another lead source. And you definitely don't need to build something new on an AI project. You need to stop chasing things and start actually using what you already have. Now, because there's a very super big difference between being a productive agent and actually running a productive, profitable real estate business. So let's get into this. I have a question for you first. Are you living in the what ifs? One of the things I spend a lot of time doing with my clients is pulling them back to what is actually happening. Because we can make ourselves absolutely crazy with the what ifs. What if the market gets worse? What if the rates never come down? What if I call my database and they don't want to hear from me? What if I call my database? Oh no, I can't do that. I don't know what to say. What if I spend money on this and it doesn't work? What if I hire somebody and I can't keep them busy? What if that buyer doesn't buy? What if that seller doesn't list? You can what if yourself right out of production into the loony bin. And here's what I want you to remember. Real estate works in 90-day cycles. When somebody tells me they don't have enough business today, I'm not nearly as interested in what they did this week as what they've been doing the last 60 to 90 days. How many conversations were you having? How many people were you following up with? How consistently were you communicating with that database? And were you asking for business? Were you nurturing those relationships or just texting and emailing them or letting the system do it for you? Or were you getting ready to get ready? Because today's pipeline is usually the result of yesterday's behavior. That's why I want agents to stop operating from what if and start operating from what is. Just one little adjustment of one letter in a word, F to S, if to is, can change the perspective and results on everything. Think of it from what is true right now. You have people in your database. You know people who own homes. You know people who want to buy homes. You probably know some people who want to sell homes. You know other agents. You have past clients. And you have people who haven't heard from you in 6 months or maybe 6 years. This is an opportunity sitting right in front of you. But instead of working that opportunity, many agents only see the excuses of what if. That's where we get ourselves into trouble. Your business probably doesn't need more. It just needs more structure. That brings me to what is possible when you operationalize or systematize what you already have and you already do. This is where I see a lot of businesses become unnecessarily complicated. Let's say you have an assistant or a VA. You think of something at 9:15 in the morning and you send them a text. At 10:30, you send them an email. At noon, you're jumping on Zoom and giving them 3 more ideas. Then you send them a Google Chat or a Slack or something. And then tomorrow morning, you ask them, where are we at on that thing we talked about yesterday? And your assistant has absolutely no idea which of the 7 things you're referring to. That isn't delegation. That's fire hosing someone. And I see agents do this constantly. Then they tell me my assistant isn't proactive or my assistant isn't working out very well. Maybe, but sometimes the assistant isn't the problem. Sometimes you have never created a structure that allows that person to be proactive and get results. Your ideas need somewhere to live. The work needs somewhere to live. The priorities need somewhere to live. And everybody needs to know who owns that somewhere to live. I don't care whether you use Trello, Asana, Monday, ClickUp, Google Sheet, or have Claude build you something if that's what you'll actually use. But you need one place where the work lives. Personally, I like something very simple. Trello board, to do, doing, review, revision, and done. That's it. You don't need a 47-column project management system. Your brain dump goes into the to-do list. Now, that does not mean your assistant immediately starts doing everything you thought of at 10 o'clock at night. It simply means your idea is no longer taking up space in your brain. When something becomes priority, it moves into doing. When it's ready for you, it moves to review. If something needs changing, it goes to revision. And then most importantly, it goes to done. Because some of you have 72 projects in process and absolutely nothing ever gets completed. That's another problem. Now, the issue of delegating tasks instead of building a system the tasks live in, well, here's the next level of this. Every time you delegate something that is going to happen again, I want you asking yourself, should this become an SOP, a standard operating procedure, a repeatable, duplicatable process? Because if you explain the same task to somebody 3 different times, that's not their failure. That's a systems failure. Let's say you're showing your assistant how you should prepare a listing agreement. Record yourself doing it, Zoom or Loom, whatever. Walk through the process. Talk out loud about what you're doing. Then have them document the procedure, not you. You should not be spending 3 hours writing an SOP about a task you're trying to get off your plate. Teach it, record it, have them create the documentation in SOP and the process, and then put it where it lives. Then you review it. Now you've taken something that used to live in your head and turned it into an asset inside your business. That's how you create leverage. And while we're talking about assistants and VAs, here's another thing I see all the time. Agents hire somebody and then say, I don't know what to give them to do. Well, that's a problem. If you have to wake up every morning and invent work for your assistant, you haven't delegated responsibility. All you've delegated is random tasks. There's a difference. So instead of saying, update these 5 contacts, what if they owned the database hygiene? Instead of make this Instagram post, they own preparing your weekly marketing assets. Instead of check these home values, they own a quarterly homeowner database update. Instead of waiting for you to tell them what to do every day, they have recurring outcomes they are responsible for. That's when somebody becomes your leverage. Now, next, let's talk about the money you're spending. How about those Lakers? Okay, this is one of my favorite conversations and usually the agent's least favorite because real estate agents love buying things and usually have no idea if they can actually pay for them. We buy websites and CRMs and lead sources and AI tools and marketing programs and social media tools and dialers and data and coaching and subscriptions. And half the time when I ask somebody, what's it costing you and what are you getting back from it? They don't know. That's a problem. Go through your credit card and bank statements. You've heard me say this multiple times and I will say it till I die. Look at every recurring expense in your business and ask 3 questions. What does it cost? What result is it supposed to produce? Is it producing that result? If you can't answer those questions, don't automatically cancel it, but you absolutely need to investigate it. Because sometimes the solution to growing your business isn't adding another $2,000 a month in lead source or a program or coaching. Sometimes it's actually working the leads you already have. This is where I will challenge agents every single day of the week. I need more leads. Hear it all the time. Do you really? Or do you need better follow-up? Do you need better conversion? Do you need more conversations? Do you need to clean up your own database? Because, by the way, no one can do it for you. Do you need to actually call the 800 people sitting inside that CRM? Because a new lead doesn't solve a broken conversion process. It just gives you more people not to follow up with and kind of clutters up your CRM. Now, speaking of the Lakers, do you know what's your 3-point shot, right? I said this to somebody the other day and they didn't have a clue what I was talking about. Every great salesperson needs to know their 3-point shot. What's the business that is most likely to convert for you? For most experienced agents, it's not some stranger filling out a form at 2:00 in the morning, asking about a house. That's already pending. And interesting how that works. It's your relationships, past clients, sphere, database, agent referrals, people who already know who you are and want to work with you. Yet agents will spend 80% of their time chasing the lowest converting opportunities and 20% of their time talking to the people most likely to hire them. If you flip that around, your database is your best source of business. Then it should have a place on your calendar every day, or at least 3 days a week. Not when you have time, not when your pipeline gets thin, every day, at least weekly. And I don't need you making 100 calls. Start with 5 meaningful conversations a day. 5. But actually have the conversation. You need to listen to people. You need to ask them questions. Find out what's going on in their life. Talk about real estate when it's appropriate. It always is appropriate. Everybody's interested in it. Be the person they think of when a real estate conversation comes up with their friends. Consistency beats the giant prospecting binge you do every 3 months when you're scared to death because your pipeline disappeared because you stopped working. Oh, and stop working with everybody. Some of you are spending an enormous amount of time working with people who have made absolutely no commitment to work with you. Oh, by the way, buyers and sellers, if you're listening to this, I'm talking to you. Agents, you're sending listings, you're answering texts at night, you're showing houses every single weekend, you're driving all over the county, and you're not even sure they're going to buy with you. Stop doing that. I would much rather see you have 5 to 10 qualified, committed buyers that you treat like VIPs than 47 leads you're chasing around. A VIP buyer is ready, they're qualified, they're financially prepared, they understand the market they are in, they have agreed on the process, they've signed your buyer broker agreement, and they are committed to working with you. That doesn't mean you're arrogant about it. It means you're professional. You explain to them, here's how I work. Here's what you can expect from me when you're on my VIP list. And here's what I need from you. When the right property comes up, they need to be ready to move. That's very different than endlessly chauffeuring somebody around hoping someday that they decide to buy something. Your time is one of the most expensive assets in your business. I just wish you'd all start treating it that way. Okay. Are you ready for this week's homework? There are 3 things I'd love for you to do this week. For yourself, not for anybody else. Number 1, empty your head. Take every idea, project, unfinished task, and nagging thought floating around in your brain and put it somewhere. Paper, Google Doc, a Trello board. Type it into ChatGPT and let it do some work for you. I don't care. Get it out of your head. Then look at the list and ask ChatGPT, what actually matters in the next 90 days? Not everything deserves to become a project. Some ideas should die right where they're at on that page, and that's okay. Number 2, find one repeating task and systematize it. Something you or your assistant do over and over and over again. Document it, assign it ownership, create the process, and stop solving the same problem repeatedly. And number 3, get back to revenue producing conversations. Look at your database, look at your active prospects, look at your past clients, then have 5 meaningful conversations every single day with those people. Not emails, not text, not likes, not DMs pretending to be prospecting. Actual conversations on the phone. By doing this, you will identify the 5 to 10 people closest to doing business right now. Here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. A scalable business isn't built by piling more things on top of chaos. It's built by deciding what matters, creating ownership, documenting it, and what's repeating, and measuring what you're spending, and consistently doing the work that produces revenue. You don't need to become busier. Most of you are busy enough. You need to become more intentional about what the business requires from you and what it should no longer require from you. Stop chasing, start systematizing, and get out of your own way. That's your mentorship for today. I'm Yvonne Arnold, and this is Martinis and Mentors. I'll see you next time. Cheers. If you got value from today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a round of real talk and real estate wisdom. And if you're loving the show, leave a review. It helps more people like you find us. Until next time, keep shaking things up, stay profitable, and always remember, a great real estate business is like a great martini, well crafted, smooth, and best enjoyed with good company. Cheers.